Hello YouTube, it is your boy B3 back with another kicking comic book collection update. I know, it's been a long time since I've done a comic book collection update. I haven't had much time to read them, and what I have read has just been trade collections so that I can do graphic novel reviews on my Godzilla and Gigan channel, link in the description below. But I'm finally breaking into single issues, and I am behind, so we're going to have to catch up. First up, I have Titanicus number 0. This comic came with my Titanicus Kaiju action figure. And it's kind of the origin of Titanicus. You know, he's the monster that destroyed the Titanic, which is how he got his name. And lots of people thought it was an iceberg because all they saw was the big ice-like spike on his back. And then anyone who said it was a monster was written off as like crazy and traumatized. And then Titanicus shows up in the modern day and someone's like, oh, I guess my grandfather was right. It was a monster. Pretty good. It's got exactly the type of art I like in books like this. So really happy about that. Then Doomsday Clock 6 of 12. You guys know I love me some Doomsday Clock. Mime and Marionette were kind of doing their own thing in this. You know, Joker captured them because they kicked some of Joker's men's ass and killed them and stuff. And they get to this big meeting where like all these Gotham baddies are. And some other baddies too. There were some Green Lantern baddies there. Some Flash baddies. Lots of different baddies. Because the world's kind of going to shit. There's all this Superman theory going on. And then the comedian starts shooting up the place, chases them around. Joker eventually knocks out the comedian. I really love Doomsday Clock. It's really good. And then we have Rick and Morty number 39. Yeah, so Rick and Morty get arrested because Rick has some of the Simple Rick's wafer candies. And like the new authorities that kind of have started to fill the hole the Galactic Federation left behind were like, hey, that's a psychotropic. And he's like, what? Because it has brain chemicals in it? So he and Morty are in fact arrested. Morty gets arrested too because he was eating some. So he was technically a user. And there are these aliens there that work for this crime lord that Rick is like kind of a fan of. Because he also doesn't give a fuck about authority and shit. Rick ends up killing all of the lieutenants for the crime boss after they stage like a Con Air style prison riot thing. And the crime boss is called Party Dog, and he's like a bro dog, like a frat bro dog. So he's going to go after Rick in the next issue. Then we have the Kong of Skull Island 2018 special. Yes, I know it's 2019 and I'm just now getting around to reading this Kong book. If you loved the Kong of Skull Island run, they still release a one-shot every now and then for it. So you got Kong of Skull Island 2018 special number 1. These Viking-esque people showed up on Kong Island. She kind of befriended a Kong, but then she kind of got obsessed with conquering the island, even though conquering the island was not her job. All the men she was leading were just there to get resources. And so they kind of mutiny against her, and then the Kong comes to her aid. They fight the Kong. They beat the Kong. They actually take one of the Kong's arms. They cut off one of his arms, and they take it, and then she ends up getting them all killed and stuff. It's a pretty cool book. Kong of Skull Island was a great ongoing. I've loved all the single issues. This wasn't as good as the last one-shot that came out, Gods of Skull Island, which I really loved. It was about some Christian missionaries that came to the island and either died or got converted to the Kong religion. It was really good. But this one was still pretty cool. I just loved the Kong of Skull Island mythology, and I kind of wish it was still ongoing, honestly. And then here we have spider-gwen number 32. So in the last issue, she revealed her identity to J. Jonah Jameson. In this one, she like has a heart-to-heart with some of her friends. Beats Matt Murdock finally, and it looks like the Hand's going to end up killing him because Matt Murdock was kind of fatally wounded by the Hand, and then she had a fight with him. And she found balance with the Venom in her. So she's not saying we anymore, she's saying I again. And it's kind of unclear if the Venom leaves her or if it just doesn't have influence over her anymore. And apparently she's been doing all this crazy stuff not because the Venom heightened her emotions and stuff, like it would have in the 616, but her venom actually had alien emotions that she felt, so emotions she'd never felt before, and they caused her to do stuff, which is pretty cool. And then she's arrested in the end. Pretty crazy. Then we have Rick and Morty presents Crombobulus Michaels. Yeah, so there's this Rick and Morty presents thing. I think it's like every 2 months, 4 months, something like that. I think it's like every 4 months one of these comes out. I don't remember which one this is. I think it was the second one, maybe. The first one, I think, was The Vindicators, and I read it. I think I already sold it. I don't think I have it anymore. This one was really funny. It was Crombobulus' origin, how he met Rick and all this stuff, all this different stuff he did. It was pretty funny. Did you know Crombobulus Michaels had a boyfriend? I bet you didn't know that. Crombobulus Michaels had a boyfriend. So that's a little something to know about Crombobulus. Then we have the Amazing Spider-Man 801. I believe this was the last one in that run. I thought 800 would have been the last one, but it ended up being 801. This is a variant. Fancy variant. I'll probably end up selling it too, because I've already sold most of that run. I've sold all but the last few issues. I still have the Red Goblin stuff. I'll probably sell all of them in this one too tomorrow. But I mean, it was good, you know. It was a quick recap of his original origin with some fancy art. You know, if it's the last issue of your run, you're going to do some kind of homage thing where it recaps it. And then it shows, like, kind of the first bodega robbing that he ever stopped. And he saved this man who was on his way to see his father one last time before his father died. And Spider-Man stopping the robber made it so that man could get to the hospital in time. And then the man went on to have a great life. His name was Ken, I believe. Something like that. Went on to have a great life. And then Spider-Man was fighting some of Mr. Negative's men on the street. And then that man tripped one of them. You know, the thing Spider-Man failed to do back in the day. Tripped one of them so he didn't get away with what Mr. Negative wanted. So Spider-Man was able to recover it. Spider-Man thanked him. Of course, Spider-Man didn't remember who he was, because Spider-Man was in high school when that happened. And it was just a really nice book, you know. It made me feel good feelings. It's a nice, wholesome Spider-Man comic. I really liked it. Then we have My Little Pony Friendship is Magic number 63. Yeah, I still have several of these I haven't read. After issue 70, I won't be reading them anymore, because they kind of stopped doing big, mystic fantasy stories with villains, and now they're kind of just doing little stories. Like this one was a single issue story. This is cover B of issue 63, as I said. And then these protesters, these anti-sugar protesters, come to town, and they get like half the town on their side. So half the town's angrily protesting sugar in front of a Sugar Cube corner, and you know, all they do is sell sugary treats. And that starts to hurt Pinkie Pie's business, because no one's having parties if they can't have sugar at them. And it's also hurting the Apple family, because they sell apples to the cakes, and the cakes make them into stuff like apple pie and etc. So lots of businesses and stuff are hurting. Lots of people aren't happy because they can't get sugar. Lots of people aren't happy because they don't have sugar. And then it's got this message about not eating too much sugar. There's a little message for the kids, you know, don't eat too much sugar, blah blah blah. This comic series will probably end soon. It might keep going, but the show's getting rebooted, so yeah, watch Ginny Nicholson's video on the Applejack problem. It's really good. And then we have The World of Krypton #1. This was a free book DC put out to promote the Krypton show on the Sci-Fi Channel. It might be a good show. Sci-Fi's done a lot of good shows. I thought it was going to be like a little tiny prequel or something to the prequel series, but it's actually a reprint of The World of Krypton #1 from December of '87. And before I even opened the page and saw it was an older book, I thought I wouldn't like it. I was like, this will probably just be some BS story that has no real effect on anything. And then I opened it up and I was like, oh, it's an old reprint, so it might not be anything special if they're giving it to us for free. But this is just a drama that happened on Krypton, and it was really good. I really want to read this whole 4-issue miniseries, because it was really good. It was so good. There was this big-ass twist in the end, and I was like, whoa, that's crazy. So read The World of Krypton #1, December 87. It's great. It was so good. Wow. I don't even want to spoil it. It was so good. And then you guys might be interested in this. I know I got a lot of Kaiju fans on this channel. This is the third Kaiju book in this video. But Redman Volume 2. I have not read it yet because I ordered the reprint of Volume 1 along with this, and the reprint of Volume 1 has not come out yet at the time of recording. So I don't want to read Volume 2 without reading Volume 1 first, but I did kind of flip through it, and it seems like I probably could read it without Volume 1 and totally follow it. There's little to no dialogue, just some narration. Because, you know, Redman's not a man of many words. The Kaiju aren't really saying anything. You got Jiras, Earthtron, crap. I know that Kaiju. I have its figure. Gudon, yeah. Sorry, but yeah, Matt Frank. You know, you guys love Matt Frank. Gonquilo Lopez. This prints in Japan, and you can get it on Night Shining in America, but it'll take it forever to ship to you, if you can get it at all. It's pretty limited. So yeah, quick recap. We have Redman Volume 2, first printing. The World of Krypton #1, free reprinting with the Krypton TV show cover. We have My Little Pony Friendship is Magic issue 63 cover B. We have The Amazing Spider-Man 801 variant edition. Rick and Morty presents Crombobulus Michaels #1. Spider-Gwen #32. We have Kong of Skull Island 2018 special. Rick and Morty issue 39. Doomsday Clock #6. And Titanicus #0. So that is it. Thank you all very much for your support. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below. Facebook, Twitter, etc. I'm kind of starting to read comics more again. I have a bit more time right now. Work's been slow, which means I can't buy more comics, but it means I can catch up. I'm probably going to stop reading several of the books I'm on. I've already stopped reading mini and just switched to trades, digital trades and stuff, just because it's cheaper. Oh, and speaking of digital trades, I also got the first 3 volumes of Kaiju Max, all of the Brian Michael Bendis New Avengers, all of Brian Michael Bendis Mighty Avengers. I got World War Hulk, The Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1 of the current run, and the first 3 Spider-Geddon books, which would be Edge of, the regular one, and then whichever one has Scarlet Spider in it. Haven't read them yet. So that's it. Thank you all once again for your support, and I'll see you all later.